Hello, my dear ones. Always a pleasure to talk with you and to see what we can do to help anyone out there suffering, of course, because the name of the game is don't suffer. Always want to pick yourself up, start to identify that the fact that your diet is one of the big causes of these things, body symptoms, and that keep in mind you only have two sides. Keep it always simple. Medical always wants to make it complicated, always wants to confuse you. Terrible modality. So you really want to learn how to help yourselves with botanicals and foods. Because you can use foods to go up and down. You can use foods to increase the body cleansing, or you can use foods to slow it down. So in the Homo sapien, as a matter of fact, in all species, fruit speeds everything up because it's so electrical. And then vegetables slow everything down, especially for humans. And so you just keep that in mind. And you just work that, know how to hold them, when to fold them, that sort of thing. Sometimes if your detox symptoms are too rough, then you can kind of balance that out a little bit. I think the way we've designed these programs all these years, I think I've taken out the rough side of detox because, back in the earlier years, you could go through all kinds of hell detoxing yourself, I'm telling you. It's I think with understanding the kidney matrix, get that filtering, working on hydrating and that sort of thing, but getting into the fruit line. Dr. Jensen woke up with prostate cancer. I think his PSAs were like 1,700, if you know anything about PSAs, because PSAs generally were for years 1 to 3. Then they moved them up. Most labs are 1 to 4. But I've had prostate cancer in my office at 2. And I've seen PSAs at 20, no prostate cancer. So it just simply means that cancer simply means that a cell is getting a heck beat out of it by acids. And then it only simply has to take you to what systems in your body deals with acids. And it's not your blood. It is your lymph system. Cells are just hanging out being a cell, right? They're doing their genetic thing. But how do you affect that cell? How do you mutate it? How do you make it an atypical? How do you break it down? And that comes into chemistry. There's only two sides of chemistry, and there's only two major fluids of the human body that deal with each side of those of chemistry. It's that simple. And the medical profession chooses to make it complex and keep you stupid. And it's like, no. And it keeps them stupid. And that's a sad thing, because we're all in this together. We all come from the same source, right? Right. So we need to help each other and get on the same thinking, the same understanding. The problem comes in with anatomy, physiology books, egos, things like this, where one is not willing to learn, to grow. You get fixated on your education and things like that. And medical education is intense in some ways. Naturopathic is more fun because you learn the science. Science is fun. I had a chemistry set growing up. I can't remember how old I was. Just fun stuff to play with, right? Looking under microscopes and playing with things like that. But I've said this over and over, you have to have a good foundation. And the foundation is always going to be in energy or electromagnetic frequencies, chemistry, keeping it simple, and a little bit deeper understanding of the lymphatic system. You can't let the lymphatic system in its entirety sit out there and just say, it's just there to buffer blood proteins, like the blood is everything. And you notice that's what they consider. Blood is everything. But blood can look into the lymphatic system. You see that in your tumor markers. You see that in your enzyme elevations. You see that in these areas of blood. And it's just the lymphatic system causing the problem. Blood is electrical and alkaline. It doesn't cause problems. It's not supposed to. Imagine if blood caused all these problems. No, nobody would be living anymore. So